second speaker, I would just try to focus on that. Yesterday from Bharat Shiksha Mandal, we got the line that Atmanirbhar Bharat will only happen when we have Atmanirbhar Shiksha. And it is the COVID time as is the time for recovering the education. And when we were looking for a speaker, that who would be the apt speaker to speak upon this, we could think of none other than, no second thought was given by our team and by our coordinators and everyone. We should not ask anybody to come forward, but for our director Patnaik sir. So he was the best choice, and he is the not only a visionary academician, but also a person with far-sightedness. Because education is the most powerful weapon to bring the change. And to bring this change, none other than I would like to introduce to all of you our next speaker of eminence, Dr. Sham Sundar Patnaik. And I really feel privileged to work under his supervision, and I would like to introduce to you all. Dr. Patnaik is presently the director of NITTR Chandigarh, which is established Autonomous Institute of Ministry of HRD, as you all know. And before joining this post of director, Professor Patnaik served as Vice Chancellor of Biju Patnaik University of Technology, the Technical University of Government of Odisha. He has completed his postdoctoral research from University of Utah, USA, PhD in engineering from Sambalpur University, Odisha. And talking about his achievements, he has, under his able supervision and guidance, Professor Patnaik has 23 students have completed their PhDs, and he has more than 54 ME theses to his creditors, and the number of research papers in the esteemed journals and conferences of repute is more than 300. He is recipient of Boycast Fellowship from
and Meenakshi, we cut short because I have 35 slides and I'll not be in a position to do justice. So, can you allow me to take over the platform now?
No, just one line, sir, because I just want to say that when the winds are changing, change blow hard, and I've learned it from you, sir. It's not to go for best, it's better to go for building the best windmills rather than putting shelters to others. So with this, I hand over the platform to you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Meenakshi. Actually, there are certain people here who were not only my colleague here in the institute, they were also my student. So obviously, they will talk very high about me. Whether I deserve that or not, I don't know. Today the scenario is something different. मैं इस परिस्थिति को actually I would like to see that in spiritual world we say that अपना स्थिति को ऐसे मजबूत करो कि you can tackle the परिस्थिति. और आज का दिन में जो कोविड का जो परिस्थिति है, जब मैं अपना स्थिति, मेरा कलीग का स्थिति, कि मेरा जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का स्ट्रेंथ का स्थिति को, जब वो स्ट्रेंथ को मैं इवैल्यूएट करता हूँ, देन आई सी दैट हम वो टीम है, हम वो जोड़ है जिस जोड़ ने परिस्थिति को अपना एक पॉजिटिव डायरेक्शन में ट्रांसफर कर सकता है. एंड बिफोर आई जस्ट विद दिस कंसेप्ट ओनली आई ब्रॉट समथिंग इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू. My talk is not like going a sermon type of thing for you. I have three components here. एक, आपको कुछ समय के लिए मैं वो टाइमलाइन में थोड़ा पीछे लेना चाहता हूँ. मैं वो भारत का बना हुआ भारत देश का बारे में कुछ आपका बोलना चाहूँगा. उसका बाद आई विल कम अप विद द रिसेंट स्टैटिस्टिक जो हम उनको नेक्स्ट एक डायरेक्शन दिखाता है कि हाउ एजुकेशन कैन प्ले different type of role to improve our economy, because ये आत्मनिर्भर भारत में economy is a paramount importance. Before I go to my formal presentation, I would like to tell you a small story. जब एक कोकोनट अपना मैच्योरिटी के बाद पेड़ से नीचे गिरता है, देन उसका एक एम्बिशन रहता है कि मैं भी कहाँ जाए के किनारे में रहूँगा, किसी एक अच्छा जगह में एक पेड़ बन के सोसाइटी को सर्व करूँगा, मैं भी वो फल देना चाहता हूँ सोसाइटी को. तो जब वो नीचे गिरता है, जब तक नीचे नहीं गिरा है उसको पता नहीं चलता है कि परिस्थिति क्या है. जब वो नीचे गिरता है, देखता है कि बड़ा सा समुद्र में वो गिर चुका है, और उस समुद्र में सुनामी भी है, वेब भी बड़े बड़े आते हैं, जहाँ जहाँ बड़े बड़े शिप भी अपना कैप्टन उसको लेके किनारा कर देता है कि भाई वी कैन नॉट फाइट विद दिस टाइप ऑफ वेव और सुनामी टाइप ऑफ वेव्स। लेकिन कोकोनट अपना डिटर्मिनेशन, परसिवेशन, प्रैक्टिस में वो तब तक स्ट्रगल करते जाता है जब तक उसको एक सही किनारा, सही लैंड नहीं मिलता। जब कहीं एक सही किनारा के लैंड जब वो मिल जाता है, तब तक उसका वो जो दृढ़ता, उसका चेष्टा, उसका जो प्रयास वो कम नहीं होता है। इट गोज ऑन परसिवरेंस, पेशेंस एंड प्रैक्टिस गोज ऑन कंटिन्यूइंग टिल इट रीचेस द डेस्टिनेशन। जब वो डेस्टिनेशन पहुंच जाता है, आफ्टर दैट द सेम स्मॉल कोकोनट grows as a big tree, serves to the society for many years. So with this word, I would like to start my presentation. The presentation is more like a thought process of mine, जिसमें मैं आपसे कुछ संवाद करना चाहता हूँ, वार्तालाप करना चाहता हूँ एंड मेरा थॉट प्रोसेस आपके साथ शेयर करना चाहता हूँ। The topic of my discussion today, in my perspectives, what is the post-COVID technical education system? कि मेरा थॉट प्रोसेस क्या है, आई वुड लाइक टू शेयर विथ यू पीपल। इसमें मैं एक सोशियो डिजिटल पेडागोजी के बारे में बात करना चाहूँगा, क्योंकि मुझे लगता है कि कहीं ना कहीं ये पर्टिकुलर टर्म ऑफ पेडागोजी विल कम इनटू आवर पिक्चर। तो नाउ बिफोर आई गो टू द टॉपिक, आज आई टोल्ड यू कि मेरा 3 हिस्सा है इसमें, इस टॉपिक में। एक, आपको थोड़ा समय के लिए मैं थोड़ा टाइम लाइन में पीछे लेना चाहता हूँ कि हम उस ग्लोरी का हिस्सा है जहाँ इस देश में यूनिवर्सिटी लाइक तक्षशिला, नालंदा, ये कभी एग्जिस्ट करते थे। एंड इफ यू सी दिस स्मॉल हिस्ट्री व्हिच आई एम ब्रिंगिंग इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू, उस तक्षशिला यूनिवर्सिटी और एजुकेशन सिस्टम हायर एजुकेशन ही था, क्योंकि वहाँ 16 साल से ऊपर बच्चे को अलाउ किया जाता था। एंड उसको हायर एजुकेशन में टीचर्स का इतना ऑटोनॉमी था कि कोई भी किंग उसमें वो इंटरफेयर नहीं करते थे। नोबडी वाज इंटरफेयरिंग इन एनी ऑफ द टीचिंग अफेयर और एनी टाइप ऑफ डिसीजन इन देयर पर्टिकुलर स्कूल। एंड उस जमाना में ये विद्यादान, विद्या को एक ज्ञान में कंसिडर किया जाता था। देयरफॉर मनी वाज नॉट प्राइमरी द रिक्वायरमेंट देयर, बिकॉज लॉट ऑफ डोनर्स, द बिग किंग्स वर द डोनर्स फॉर दोज यूनिवर्सिटीज, and the teacher used to really devote their time for giving this Vidyadhan. And the course completion was not examination based. Examination was superfluous. The course completion was based on the satisfaction of the teacher. जो आजकल हम बोलते हैं ना, slow learner, fast learner, you can give a credit recognition, recognition of prior learning, all those components what we are talking today. At recognition of prior learning, the fast learner can be allowed to go some more units. All those things were happening at the teacher level in that era also. Then if you see, this is a university of experiential learning, where not only this 18 arts, in addition to this there was a military school, fine arts school, economy school, जो totally Arthashastra school was there, Ayurvedic Charak Ayurvedic school was there, Buddhism religion study was also taking example. So there was a time when the country was having this type of experiential university or experiential education system. Recently in 2019 में डॉक्टर होमी बाबा स्टेट यूनिवर्सिटी मुंबई, जो 2019 में अभी एस्टेब्लिश हुआ है क्लस्टर यूनिवर्सिटी फॉर्म में, दे 4 कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट कॉलेज को, जहाँ एक आर्ट्स कॉलेज है, कॉमर्स कॉलेज है, आई थिंक लॉ कॉलेज है एंड साइंस कॉलेज है, दे ब्रॉट टुगेदर ए क्लस्टर कॉलेज एंड दे आर ट्राइंग टू गिव दैट टाइप ऑफ स्कोप फॉर द स्टूडेंट्स, दे आर स्टूडेंट्स ऑफ ऑल द 4 कॉलेजेस नाउ। अदरवाइज जब यूनिटरी कॉलेजेस में और कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट कॉलेजेस में एग्जिस्ट करता था, साइंस वाले आर्ट्स नहीं पढ़ पाते थे, आर्ट्स वाले लॉ नहीं पढ़ पाते थे। नाउ दे हैव आल्सो कम टू दिस टाइप ऑफ concept and they are trying to explore that. Similarly, when we go to the next another great university which we talk about is Nalanda. उस जमाना में The Nalanda University used to have a 9-story library. You'll hardly find any of our big university today is having this type of big library. 90 lakhs manuscripts उनका पास हुआ करता था. And they also used to have different type of course, different type of activities, and 1,000 students with 3,000 teachers. बेसिकली 1:3 रेशियो में उसका FSR हम लोग जाते हैं ना NBA और NAC में फैकल्टी स्टूडेंट रेशियो क्या है पूछते हैं. So it is 1:3 जैसे फैकल्टी रेशियो में. So this is the best example of personalized attention learning. So that was the practice of this country. So we used to have a legacy of experiential learning. We used to have a legacy of the personalized attention learning. But with time now, somehow what has happened to us, we don't know. We have started learning this terminology from other sources. But time is also not that late. Recently, just yesterday, I saw a Odia newspaper where I was surprised to see that one of the Odia artists has been picked up by government of Sweden to become their art advisor. And our Honorable Chief Minister of Odisha, Naveen Patnaik ji, has congratulated him. So somebody shared that paper, so I went through that. So till date, even if we have we have just forgotten our past glory, but still the world is looking at us. The world is looking forward to our talent, and Indians, this is one of the examples. But if you pick up, especially from Punjab, there are so many talented people in various capacity there. So in that matter, any part of the country you pick up, Indians are recognized as talent pools. So they are being given different type of very high profiles responsibility in many countries. So that means this is not too late also, but at the same time we have to really go very strong. Then let's go to some statistics. This is a recent statistics which I picked up from the recent approval book of AICT, the 2020 approval book of AICT. If you see the total technical institute, when I say technical institute, I am not considering the higher learning institutes like the university system. I'm talking only about the engineering, polytechnic, management, pharmacy colleges, which the AICT is having. We have almost all 11,000 institutions. This is the total number of intakes with 32 lakhs 85,000, which is a huge number. And the total faculty also is not that small number, it is 5,62,000. So this is the statistic, if I believe the AICT reports, that this is the statistic, this is the strength of the country, where you have 11,000 technical institutes. Almost all every part of the country now you have a technical institute. And your student strength also 33 lakhs almost all. So what is that is really creating a problem for us. With this strength, when I see the concern, the recent AICT CIE report of 2018, if you see, there are so many things mentioned there. One of the concerns which I took from this is the very less linkage to the industry. Our approach to the real applications, the applied requirements is very less. Only 19% of the institutes are having platinum linkage. Platinum linkage means the institute who scores 30 out of 100. तो जो 30 मार्क पास मार्क होता है ना यूनिवर्सिटी सिस्टम में और कॉलेज सिस्टम में, 30 मार्क मिल जाने से प्लैटिनियम लिंकेज बोलते हैं. वो 30 मार्क भी हमारा 11,000 इंस्टीट्यूट में ओनली 19% का पास ही है. 40% institutes are gold and silver. Silver is 10% less than 10 mark less than 10 marks if you score, then it is say silver. 10 to 20, 10 to 30 के में अंदर में जो रहता है, that is called the gold. So that is the way. If you see our industrial linkage or industrial integration is very poor. Maybe that is one of the reasons that we could not really deliver to the expectation of the people. Then recent the India skill report which is talking 2019, they say only 47% skill workers are employable. That means skill training भी जो हम देते हैं शायद वो इंटरनेशनल स्किल और ग्लोबल स्किल लेवल को मीट नहीं करता है. दैट्स फॉर ओनली 47% आर employable. Then when I see the loss in terms of revenue, these are the statistics which is very alarming for me. When we see the cash flow which is going out of the country, then we see that almost all 11 lakhs Indian students are studying outside this country. They are in abroad. Every year, 2 to 3 lakhs students are going out of which 12% are UG, rest are PG and PhD students. So almost all 98, 88%, 87% students are going for higher learning. And the average cost per student per year is almost all $36,000. So the fiscal outflow from this country is per year around 26,000 crores, which is a huge cash outflow. So this is a loss the country is incurring because we have not improved our quality of education to that extent. It is not giving you the employability to that extent. Therefore, the students are rushing out of this country for a better opportunity, better quality of job. Like the other day, in our first day, our Mr. B.K. Misra was telling that the Apple CEO told him that give me the alternative of China, I am ready to shift. Give me that skill force. Give me that intelligence level. So this is what is the point the every CEO they are just feeling now. So therefore, to stop this cash outflow and to bring some foreign investor in February itself, our Honorable Finance Minister declared that we can improve the GDP investment in higher education from 3.1 to 6% like Brazil and South Africa, because South Africa and Brazil, they have almost all 6% GDP investment in higher education. So she was referring to that we can also improve our GDP investment by bringing some foreign direct investment and also facilitating external commercial borrowing for higher education. So they were ready, they were trying, government is looking into each of these rules so that the foreign investors will be attracted and they will be part of our higher education system, mainly the technical education system. But while these things were under process, then unfortunately, we landed in a situation called COVID. So when this ecosystem was getting built up, then all of a sudden, the pandemic came into picture, and we were forced to enter into this so-called virtual education or online education. Prior to that, more or less, majority of our institutes used to follow this contact mode of applications. Some open university systems were also there, but institute like us, we used to have a blended learning, like contact and ICT based, because in 2012, we showed the country that Google Hangout can be a mode of teaching learning, a method of teaching learning. So in pre-COVID scenario, it was something a blended type of situation, but the COVID pushed everybody to go for a virtual education. And the post-COVID, what will be a scenario? This post-COVID, I see that it will be contact, open, virtual, immersive digital learning. So the post-COVID will force us to enter into a COVIDal education system, where it will be a blending of all those things through a cyber physical interface. How do you expect that? But this COVID situation, even though these industries were moving towards Industry 4.0, but the COVID situation made the transformation accelerated. The big companies who were having the strength, revenues, they are now pushing strongly towards education, this Industry 4.0, where all this IoT, AI, blockchain, machine learning are aggressively going to be utilized. So when those systems are coming into picture, the Industry 4.0 is getting more integrated to the industrial scenario, then our workforce, their job, their tasks are multitasking. They cannot be a talented workforce. They have to have multiple this type of characteristics to become a workforce of this particular scenario. So the new skill demands is enormous. At the same times, they are socially responsible. They have to practice ethics and values. They have to have a cognitive flexibility. Name anything, it is there. So the education system from where this workforce are coming out, the education system is supposed to bring them to that stage that they are having this type of features with them, characteristics with them, and they are ready for so in the Industry 4.0 scenario. But when we look forward to this workforce, then we see that the key driving factors who are supposed to create this type of skill set among the workforce are knocking at our door. Internet of Things, it is already there. Virtual simulations, you people are using that. Autonomous systems, autonomous vehicles, already a reality, you are just looking into that. In augmented reality, those tools are now being utilized in education system. Recently, this Microsoft has already shown that the holographic image of interaction is feasible, and you might have seen those videos also. Cyber security, cloud computing, big data, machine learning, cyber blockchain, you name anything. These key driving factors are not no more is an information for you because it is already in the system. People have started using it. People have started getting certification out of this. People are participating in various courses which are offered in these directions. So therefore, when the key factors are there, what is that this institute is suffering from? What is that this country is suffering from? This is a recent Deloitte Insight report I was going through. They have mentioned certain limitations, the limitations which are more prevalent or more pertinent to us. I have picked up those things. To create this type of skill workforce, even the key factors are available with you. What is missing in this country is the lack of quality faculty. And that number is huge. This is 79.7% shortage. So it is almost 80% that faculty who can really utilize these key factors to drive them, our students to go to that skill set so that they can be readily acceptable in an Industry 4.0 type of situation. Absence of fresh curriculum, which is the backbone of any education system, which is the foundation of any education system, is also missing 63.8%. So imagine that we are in a technical scenario where the faculty, skilled faculty, talented faculty, 80% missing, curriculum 64% is missing. So obviously the global perspectives, yes, we almost all have 50%, less than 50%. And in addition to this, the pressure is on students as the fee is increasing day by day with 27.5%. So we are unable to give them quality faculty. We are unable to give them a good quality curriculum. They are struggling with the perspectives, global perspectives, perceptions, and at the same time they are financially loaded by increasing the fee. So this is a limitations on which this system needs to work. But what is the solution? These are all limitations, plastic body, everything. We talk about this thing. And as an institute where we teach our teachers, we train our teachers, what is that solution which we would like to discuss in front of you? This may not be a foolproof 100% solution that I have a magic stick in my hand and start just moving that magic stick, every solution comes out. It is not like that. there is some perception, there is some perspectives in our mind which we would like to bring in front of. We have lost many time, a good considerable golden time rushing after the innovations, unique innovations. I'll give you the best example. The other day I was asking Vijlani, the person who was behind this Amrita University ABU software, let me tell you this Zoom, so-called the Webex, Cisco, Google Meet, Duo Meet, all those things were never meant for running educational system. The Rainbow, all those communication platforms which we are using today, we are communicating with each other, it was never meant for supporting the education system. They were basically for meetings, conducting the corporate trainings, those type of activities. It was never meant for a full-fledged classroom the way we are talking today. So these innovations are already there. Its intelligent implementation is the approach. Rather than struggling again to innovate something, all these big companies, they have projected something in front of us. Now, can we really go for an intelligent implementation of these things so that a seamless classroom can be conducted online the way we conduct in our physical presence? This needs to be discussed. So when there are many such areas, I just gave a simple example which you can understand very well. So therefore, the approach, the call of the time is intelligently use those innovations which are already available in front of you. How to do so? Can I do it alone? I don't agree. Therefore, it is the time that partnering, networking, empowering, these mantras are to be used. I use this frequently because I believe partnering brings strength, networking creates wealth, and empowerment is the mantra of success or progress. So this, when I see that partnering, networking, empowering, then I come across three type of university. One is your experiential university, which we want people to practice. We'll discuss that. Another is your subscription university. Now SOIM is one of the subscription platform. Go with lot of subscription material available there. Coursera is another subscription platform. So if they tomorrow declare as them the university, you'll get a subscription university in front of you, getting certain certification through certain subscription from them. Then another is your this sharing university. Sharing university, I am in a video conferencing call, taking a class. Can I call you later? हेलो सर, मैं ठीक ठाक हूँ, एक वीडियो क्लास ले रहा हूँ सर, मेरे को 12:30 के बाद फ्री हूँ. ठीक ठीक ठीक.
Sir, there will be a small arrow in this floating window. So if you could click on that in the corner, it will become a small rectangular window.
What you tell me?
Sir, the floating window that is covering your screen below.
Okay.
So there will be a downwards arrow on that corner of that window. If you could click on that arrow.
That pin you want, no? That pin.
In the corner, sir, because we are not able to see because it shows grayed out. So there will be a small arrow in the corner. If it is there, then you can click on it. We are not able to. Yes, sir. Yes. Yes. Now you can float it in the corner. Then it will be.
I was thinking that it is not stopping your presentation, but anyhow, so that's fine. So I was talking about the three. Sorry about that. There was a call from a big person, so I have to attend that. So there were three type of thought process. One is experiential university, another is subscription university. Third one I was touching upon is sharing university. The sharing university is that this will help you to avoid the repetition. For example, like today, AICT is coming up with a neat platform. You might have aware of this thing where they are just bringing all these educational companies who are into the educational products, who are developing educational product, platform, softwares, instructional material, all they are bringing to a single platform called the NEET platform. Tomorrow, This NEET platform can also used as a universities where you need not go for repetition of these materials which are there because they have to go through so many quality testing before getting into the NEET platform. So once the materials are accepted as quality materials, so there is no need of generating similar type of material because it is already available as a quality material. So therefore, the future university system will have a blending of all these three, where experiential university, subscription university, and sharing university will come into picture. Then, when I look into the ecosystem, is the ecosystem supporting us? And interestingly, I am convinced all threads are now connected. When I look into the communication infrastructure, more or less, in many places, we have a global standard communication infrastructure. When we look into these computational simulation tools, there are wonderful tools, further tools are getting developed, it is getting customized, where lot of virtualization of learning is possible that gives a real life feeling to the learners. Public IT infrastructure has improved over the time. Asset management is much better than the previous. Enterprise resource planning is much better planned nowadays, and there is a huge digital vision and disruptive technology is becomes a mantra for bringing the transformation. So when I look into the social chain impact, the chain is ready, whether we exploit that or not depends on us. So therefore, when I look this concern, strength, all those statistics, and the COVID situation which has forced us to a different type of platform altogether, then I see that the education 4.0, which is now in practice evolving after this COVID situation in post-COVID scenario, what will be our situation? It is not only the all mature people will climb the tree. A small kids can also climb the tree, like this boy is climbing here. So therefore, the definition of basics is defined in a new way now. And you as faculty, you as administrator, you have to really think that the world so far, which is following the Hamildian model of education, where research is a core university studies, should we follow that or something else? This needs to be also discussed. So that is the way when we look this education system, then one of the thing is important that we as administrator, we as faculty, we as the core foundation of the system must have an ability to forecast and analyze. If you go with a just forecasting rain, if you are going to a outside with an umbrella, you'll face what this gentleman is facing. So this is the time that simply just following others will not work. You have to really forecast and also analyze that. So while doing this forecasting and analyzing for the post-COVID education system, then I came across these difficult propositions. As I moved to drive this institute with my team to a very aggressive virtual education system, then in front of me, I have a shark. That shark is in terms of low bandwidth or no bandwidth in some areas of these countries. Bring your own device is not possible by everybody. Bring your own device is not possible by everybody, even though it is getting facilitated. Individual attention is a challenge when it is a mass learning. Stopping the unethical practices, dishonesty is also remotely is a challenge. Giving a facilities of hard experiments to everybody is definitely an area of concern for me. The personal touch, can we create that in a remote environment? How do you really, when a student comes to hostel, stays in a hostel, he start learning from introvert to extrovert situation. So he start learning what is sharing, what is caring, what is team building, all those things he starts learning in his hostel life. At least I have learned that way. Therefore, the big challenge is converting a electronics person to a contact mode person, because we people are contact mode person. So you want now virtual environment, virtual education system to take over post-COVID situation. So basically you are dealing with the E person, how to convert them to a C person is a challenging job in front of the. So these are the difficult propositions which I see that this is a difficult proposition. Then when I see in the perspectives of students, they see many possibilities, many sources of learning. Many people are talking good to them. So they have a now education tree where everything in same tree. आपको pears भी मिलेगा, apple भी मिलेगा, banana भी मिलेगा. You name any fruits, single tree में मिल रहे हैं. So now this is a challenge. This is a big question marks for people like us. But how to help this learning community when the possibilities are many in terms of giving them the right direction, right path, right options. So this is what when we see, then I see that the education system with time has moved out of the classroom to simply a ICT mode. It has also crossed that ICT mode. It has now entered into a society of learning. In the society of learning, like a society as a barber, carpenter, you have a engineer, you have a teacher, you have a name anything. So now you have a society of learning. All possible things are possible in that society, and they are connected with the digital technology, digital networks. So now, once the learning is not classroom, learning is not simply ICT, learning is not only open book or open university system. When the learning is a society, then the pedagogy cannot be open university pedagogy, it cannot be ICT pedagogy, it cannot be contact mode of pedagogy, it has to be a socio-digital pedagogy. This is what is the concept which we would like to ponder upon today. And this concept, the socio-digital pedagogy, why it is so important today? Because the society of learning is established on the concept of cooperative, collaborative, connecting, contributing, customer-oriented, and cost-effective learning. It has a cooperation approach, it has a collaborative approach, it has a connecting approach, it has a contributing approach, it has a customer-oriented approach. I didn't write simply industry-oriented approach, customer, because your industry is not only single customer for you. Now you have so many customers available in front of you, and it has to be cost-effective. So in this context, we'll discuss this social digital pedagogy. So since remember one thing, in the society of learning, competitors are many possibilities. These remote learners are there, physical challenges, physical influence challenges are there. So therefore, the socio-digital pedagogy, the focus should be on these E's. All these E's are the driving force for socio-digital pedagogy. Whatever you take up as a pedagogy in this particular mode, it should create excitation, it should engage the student, it should enforce the learning, it should enable them to do their activities, it will drive, encourage them to go inside, enhance their present skill and knowledge. They should be forced to embrace it. At the same time, they should be empowered in such a way that they can earn and sustainably they continue in the system. So therefore, the prime focus of socio-digital pedagogy when you create pedagogical tools must focus on this type of E's, because they are the backbone, they are the pillar of this socio-digital learning, where the learning environment is society, the learners are remotely available, and you are interconnecting them through a digital platform. Then I see when we talk about the socio-digital pedagogy, where it can play a very aggressive role in our revenue transformation, then I see that the immediate transformations which are required are in these areas. It may be many E also. I see that e-person curriculum, e-content, e-learning, e-communication, e-assessment, e-experimentation, e-collaboration, e-group consultation, e-socialization, e-services. So many such things are required as transformation. Means all these things they have to go through the transformation. Since the curriculum is lagged by 64%, I have kept that as the first criteria for me. So when I look this curriculum, for the curriculum developer, designer, you must understand that a direct mapping of contact mode curriculum will not work. Please come out up with this concept of a contact mode कि सर ये सब्जेक्ट देना है, इतना परसेंटेज देना है, ये देना है, वो नहीं चलेगा इधर. This has to be a clustering subject, that you should give an option to a mechanical engineer if she or he wants to be a management person to choose a basket of management subject in her final year or in his final year. If he wants to join as a corporate lawyer, then he should be an engineer, should be given an option of choosing lot of subjects in the final year from the law basket. So that is the type of clustering of subjects are available. Telling that it is not available in my institute will not work, because it is a society of learning. You don't have your society, somebody is having. So he'll pick up that from that particular society. So that is the way it needs to be developed. Then the gradual movement, you cannot just leave aside the fundamental of a branch and just jump into the commerce, this, that, it is not possible. So first 2 years, we should be confined to give them the foundation of that discipline. If they develop interest in that discipline, they will continue. If they want to go for a side branch, then they should have option for third year and fourth year to swiftly move towards that specialization. A gradual movement of specialization, building a different type of blocks, multiple specializations are to be thought of. It is very difficult job, but it is definitely a requirement of the time. And in the recent unofficial discussion with Professor Punia, Professor Sahasrabudhe in the AICT forum, more or less we agreed upon that 50% of our engineering curriculums can have 50% of our laboratories can be handled through a soft laboratory. So if you see that 50% of credits can be handled with soft laboratories, then that gives an option of remote learning a feasibility. So the remote learning is feasible because 50%, almost all 2 years you can be in soft laboratories, you can be away from your system. So the hard laboratory while staying in the remote area, can it be possible? Yes, it can be possible if we go for the experiential learning or the practice-based learning, involving them into the local industry, local requirement. Even the e-governance cell can be also a part of the hard laboratory practice. So therefore, it is required that we create the curriculum in such a way that 50% should be work-based, involving the soft and hard laboratory, where hard laboratories to be handled with integration of society, industry, NGO, startup, name anything where they can just get into to learn from them. So that 50% curriculums needs to be taught in these directions, and the structure of the contact mode should be thrown away, and you have to create a structure for yourself. So if you can create a good curriculum which is not mapping with this 64% shortage, it is well covered, the requirement, then next comes the content. Because the curriculum needs to be implemented with proper content. So this e-content is not that create a PowerPoint, create your video embedded in that, and you come out with a e-content and you think that your students are learning from that. It is not. There must be some excitement in the learning. The informations are so rich, so that Google beyond informations you are providing. So these type of Google beyond informations and exciting activities, if you can include in your content, then it will definitely engage, involve students, and sometimes your content should challenge the students so that they become excited to face your challenge. And that is the way, even though the SWAYAM followed tetra format approach, long back in 2005, in our ETV department, we used to talk this 4 tetras: faculty dominance, speaker dominance, animation dominance, all these concepts I used to tell when I was a professor here. So this today in 2013-14, SWAYAM started following that. So you also think that when the SWAYAM gave this tetra format, the virtual learning was not that dominant the way today it is. But post-COVID time, since even a small child is learning from the online platform, he will be demanding from a different type of e-content development. So therefore, the e-content development should be more assignment-based, quizzes, question, tags. So there should be interesting dashboard to interact, something like that you have to create. Then not only the content, the management system is also equally important. So therefore, the learning management systems are to be chosen or developed or customized in such a way that the students, like they enter into a university, in a one counter they ask every information they get. The LMS should be like that, and CMS is the library of your LMS. Like a library of a university system, your CMS also should be a smart library which can give the resources to the students as and when needed. So the AI support, luckily the AI support engine is helping us to customize our student profile, customize our student requirement, customize the fast and slow learning environment, and also intermediate intervention. So our learning platform should be customized in due course of time so that the learning platform behaves like a counseling platform, behaves like a feasible platform to give a fast and slow learning approach, and the CMS also should behave like a library as a whole, and LMS should be that whole university. And the communication platform needs to be customized. I personally feel that the present platforms were never meant for education system. So even though we are using it, but you must explore how you can really customize the available systems to that extent that it becomes more educational friendly. Recently, we have taken in our Chandigarh, we have picked up a partner. This partner is now in touch with why in agreement, a non-disclosure agreement has been signed with Lucent Rainbow, and they are customizing a communication platform for us, for the country, where they say that 1/4 of rate of a Google, 1/4 rate of a Zoom, they will be providing the platform which is more education oriented, not simply a meeting oriented platform. So therefore, e-communication is also equally important. There is a big difference between two terminology, assessment and evaluation. Evaluation is the analysis of assessment data. So the challenge in front of us is to go for a remote assessment. Continuous remote assessment is a requirement. So how do you do that? So this needs to be really analyzed in a bigger sense, how periodical database in a continuous assessment basis you are keeping for each individual, what is the sanctity of this data which is created, is there a third party assessment which is going on through this? So if there is a low bandwidth situation, can a network partner go there and conduct the activities like that? The assessment needs to be really thoroughly discussed. Let me tell you, present time, the country faced a lot of difficulty in this examination system. The country got delayed with all sort of confusion because some people wanted to go for contact mode, some online, some mixed, because without examination, they don't want to give certificate to any individual. Without evaluations, they don't want to give the degree. So therefore, many institutes, they started evolving their own way. Recently, one of the university where my daughter is reading, they took a decision to go for an open book system of examination. I must appreciate those faculties. That is the strength of faculty. They created the question bank in such a way that each individual students get a different type of question in their email. Because the students are very smart. They have a WhatsApp group. The question gets transmitted immediately. But to their surprise, the groups didn't get a similar question. It is a question bank. Permutations, combinations were done in such a way that absolutely the question were different. Then the question comes, let's search Google. To their surprise, the question setters, the examiners, they set the question from those books, those notes, those confidential questions where no direct answers were available in the Google. And these students were really struggling. They really exercised their brain, their knowledge, their learning for those 4 years to get evaluated themselves with this type of question system. So this shows how sincere the faculty members are in creating the question bank, how sincere they are in utilizing their knowledge to put to that level in front of the students, so that even open book system also the students is really trying hard to answer these questions. So this e-assessment is a challenging job. We must see to that. Still, because only research knowledge will not work. That's why I raised that question. Can we just go with the Hamildian way of research in the university? I personally feel skill is also equally critical in this era. We need to develop this skill. Yes, innovation research cannot be thrown away. They are part of the growth engine. At the same time, whatever innovation skills have given us, those skills are to be generated. So therefore, when we are trying to create a skill set in our remote learners, then soft laboratories we talk about, virtual laboratories. Remotely we are getting connected with the laboratories. People are in a position to handle the machines sitting in the remote location, but we must create a right kind of operating manuals, handouts, notes, so that the students, without taking assistance from others, is self-driven students to handle those soft laboratories. The laboratories should not be like do this, do oriented, allowing them for a better critical thinking, improving their learning analytics. Unless we do that, our examples, our practical problems should be oriented in that direction so that they really create. Like I used to teach antenna. In my antenna experiment, as you know, in microwave, there is a Sisodia book which conducts, everybody conducts experiment from that. But I used to always create an experiment for my students. They used to learn the same thing what Sisodia book is wanting in experiment 1, experiment 2, experiment 3, but my way of projecting was different. So that needs to be analyzed in that way. Hard experiment, if not, because everybody cannot come to your facilities, you have to network the facilities. Maybe in the networking, CSIR lab, industries, NGO, government bodies, anything. So that needs to be seen. And gradual building and linking to pertaining discipline is more important while developing the skill. Collaboration is very important, because when we are talking about the global competition, now there is a thought process coming as the champion faculty. I always used to give an example of Professor Datta Rai, very eminent faculty member of IIT Delhi, now emeritus professor. If he teaches network theory, in his place, if somebody else is teaching, the student will not get that feel. So my approach or my suggestion is here that we should pick up those type of professors who are established in that area. They are from those reputed institute, or maybe the institute who have given them that platform to become famous in their subjects. They teaches the students. And the student who is missing a IIT entrance in 3 hours judgment because of his own certain problem. You see, some students, they are not from Kota, not from Chandigarh, they are from a very remote village, equally talented, but they don't have that coaching. They don't have that strength of appearing 3 hours examination in an aggressive way. They miss that 3 hours. Lifelong, they suffer with a complexity as if I am an inferior student in front of these IITians or those big institutes students. But in this type of opportunity, in this type of virtual environment, now they will also get connected to those faculty. And sometimes I see that those students should be given a chance. Would you like to appear the question paper what IIT students are appearing or from your university? If they appear in those, like NPTEL is doing that. If you appear, let's say 50% of your credit from your IIT systems and get 50% all AA grade, then this complexity, your students' complexity will go out from their mind that they are also equally important, they are also equally intelligent compared to their friends who are in IITs. So in that way also country will get a statistic that there are second line students who are available. Even the first line students of IIT and they go out of the country, the second line students are equally intelligent, and they are equally dedicated and they can contribute to this country. Cafeteria approach is required, like your facilities should not be locked after 4 o'clock. If you are using for 3 hours, the other people should utilize your laboratories. 24/7 utilization of cafeteria approach of laboratories, that will also earn revenue for you. So it is like a shift of laboratories rather than simply morning to evening as in the academic system. And the center of excellence, or in true sense, should be center of excellence, and therefore it should avoid repeatability and we should invest in one place. In subcomputing, because I used to teach subcomputing, there is a term called local. When we look for global maxima or minima, what we do, we first search for local minima or local maxima, and then again we search the maxima among all local minima to go for global. So today, vocal for local, what our Honorable Prime Minister has told, if you see exactly this is the optimization that becomes tougher in the local scenario, gradually compete among the local scenario to get your global support and become a global player. So this is the approach. In e-collaboration it is possible. Then e-group consultation, because you will be assigning group tasks to the students. So the e-group consultation is very important. How? Because in academic institute in contact mode, 3-4 students in one group, they consult, they solve the problem. Complex problem solving is a part of their tasks. How do you do that in group when they are remotely connected? So that needs to be also seen. There, one of the things my colleague, my friend Harsh is there, he will appreciate this. In their management system, the students are always given their senior as one of their counselors. And a group of seniors, they give them the assignment. They evaluate their assignment. After that only the students, they get a next level of interaction with their teacher. So in this process, the senior, they get to know more because they become teacher. The senior interaction again gets more bonding, and the senior evaluation is based on how this junior is performing when he is counseling or when he is giving the assignment to them. So this type of concept should be also inculcated in this type of virtual scenario so that we can emphasize more on group learning while taking credit for the individual learning. Then in our campus system, we go for extracurricular activities, co-curricular activities. हम लोग ऑलवेज स्टूडेंट नाइट्स बनाते हैं, कोई स्प्रिंग फेस्टिवल करता है, कोई so many names are there for different type of activities. In remote scenario, you have to give them this option. It is not only study, it is not only the skill, it is also the holistic development of their various talents. So therefore, again, I suggest here that this type of socializing or these extracurricular activities should be done remotely, competition should be generated, and students, senior students becomes the main mentor for them, the first and evaluator for them, then the final evaluation is by the faculty member. Then earn while learning. आज का दिन में बिना पैसा का कोई बात नहीं होता है, क्योंकि आज का दिन में एजुकेशन और वो विद्या दान नहीं रहा है, it also needs money. So therefore, all these systems, because as we are moving more towards a aggressive digital infrastructure utilization, lot of service supports are required, a lot of helping hands are required to maintain these systems. So these student masses, these engineering student masses can be a very good support system for all these digital networks. They can be utilized not only in your systems, even to the e-governance cell or the nearby NGO, nearby industry, and they can be encouraged to become a learner while earning. So on while learning, the system can be real sense now be incorporated in this type of scenario. So the e-service system should be more emphasized in this virtual way of learning. One prime factor, the survival and growth depends on is quality. You cannot really talk all big thing without benchmarking yourself, without creating a ranking framework and accreditation for yourself. Unless we have a benchmarking for ourselves, our product will not be acceptable, our thought process will not be acceptable. Therefore, you cannot really leave quality as it is. So quality is also a prime parameter. So if we look into this type of transformation, the e-transformation which I talked up to e-service, then you'll see that there is a social development through integrations. Physical distancing is an automatic process. Students along with their degree will have a labeling of their skill so that more exposed to the environmentals where the people will have option of picking different type of opportunity. Cost effective education is possible. And finally, the COVID is now forcing us to go towards a COVIDial type of educations where in contact mode we may be in NGO or industry to learn something from them. In open mode, we'll be learning from various sources, virtual integrations to a simulation platform or maybe augmented reality or virtual reality or in that better this holographic image platform and well connected through a digital learning platform. So COVIDial is a future education in my perspectives. I see that in a very aggressive way. So I feel that the country is going to face this very quickly and we must get trained for challenging this because if the FDI and ECB they are facilitated well, then you'll see that today I was going through one newspaper article. Desi way of learning, Desi way of joining to the foreign university. The Desi way is like this that during this period you'll be getting connected through online. Once the situation is all right, you'll be again switching to your physical university. You'll be going to US, UK, wherever you want to do. But imagine they never thought initially that they will be going through a online mode of education. But today, like Caltech, MIT, they have taken decision this for semester. Uh, they will go through the online mode, no physical presence in the campus. So if they start exploring that, and if they start believing that this is a mode of education, so tomorrow those mode of education also will be available in our country. So they will be challenging our education system. Stanford will be offering degree here, low cost degree. So if the low cost degree is allowing me to get a quality job, instead of going to that country spending a lot of money, $36,000 per year, then definitely people will prefer that. So this competition needs to be addressed. We should gear up and look forward to the opportunity to encash this, exploit that, explore that, and come together. As already I've told you, partnering, networking is the mantra. Those mantras are to be utilized for this thing. This what I thank you all of you for your patience hearing. And if you want some question to be answered by me. This is a thought process which I've just shared with you. Social digital pedagogy is a upcoming evolving pedagogy. So this is our own way of thinking. NITAP Chandigarh being an institute who are into this type of activities is now advocating this particular way of learning. This is also a thought process how this learning can be facilitated with this type of networking, collaboration, cooperation, collaborative, your this different type of experiential universities, supportive this subscribe universities. So those type of concepts. So these are all concepts which I have just left in front of you, put in front of you for ponder upon, work together, and join hands with us, join hands with each other, so that we can really address to the real issues which are going to arise immediately after post COVID-19 because you cannot ask your students to again come back to that normal physical mode because they have tested the flavor of this virtual mode. With this word, thank you all of you. God bless all of you. Meenakshi, now it is up to you.
Thank you so very much, sir. Sir, would you like to take first two questions?
As you wish, I am there. Rohit.
Sir, there is a one question that why the universities are not making good industrial linkage, because of which they say that we are falling behind the world and we are not coping up our students, and the students are living abroad.
So this is, I presume that this is a question from a faculty member.
Yes, sir.
What is university? University is by us. We are the people who are supposed to go for the industrial collaboration, industrial consultancy, industrial linkage. Who is the university? Do you think that vice chancellor is the university or director of the institute is the university? No. Recently, when I took over this as a director of this institute, luckily I got a chairman board of governors who is an industrialist, who has lot of industries, and one such industry is in Ludhiana, a very nearby place to us, around 100 kilometers from my institute. He took us there. He told, look, you are claiming that you are an institute for last 50 years in this Chandigarh town. But being in Ludhiana, I was not aware of this institute till I become your chairman. So in 50 साल में I could not create a perception of my existence, perception of my presence, felt the industry my presence in 100-kilometer distance, which is the hub of Punjab. Then when he saw our potential, and he took us to his industry, asked us to work in 3 areas. Your Dr. Rupinder, who is the coordinator of this, he was taken to that industry. He is a man from additive manufacturing, digital manufacturing. He was asked to help him in this automation of this industry in a 4.0 style. Displays which are coming out, the byproduct which are coming out is a headache for that industry. Our civil engineering HOD was asked, can we utilize something? And our computational strength group were asked, can you do something for us in digital marketing? The initial pace was like in our academic style. So if other industry would have been there, they would have run away. Because he was our chairman, he told nothing doing, you have to come. Create a war room effect. I don't know how many of faculty they know what is war room. So there was a war room approach. Now we have a pillars. We have different pillars now for war room, and we started connecting themselves. So now from one industry, another industry is approaching us. And in this process, let me tell you, today Chandigarh Municipality Corporation has signed 20 years MOU that all their roads, their carpeting, their designing, their all sort of road decisions will be taken by NITR Chandigarh. 20 years MOU. My faculties are delivering that. Recently, again the municipality commission called me. There were a JP plant for this waste plant to handle that. JP was unable to handle that. They wanted that can NITR Chandigarh be our partner to run that plant. And my team has gone, my people have gone to that place. They have given suggestion. If they agree to it, we'll be running that industry. The JP industry, what JP was doing, we'll be running that industry. So therefore, it is not that the industrial linkages are not possible, but your academic way of giving them the output will not work. They have more value for their time than their money. And you, as academician, me also part of that. When I say you, mean I am also part of you. We don't have any value for the time. हमारे पास कोई प्रोजेक्ट आता है, मेरा 5:30 बजे घर जाना है, 6 बजे तक घर जाना है, वही होता है. बट दे फॉरगेट कि भाई इंडस्ट्री का काल तक रात में सॉल्यूशन देने से सुबह वो यूज करेगा, अदरवाइज देयर विल बी अनदर कंपटीटर इन द मार्केट. So unless we give that wattage to industry people, industry will not come forward. The institute who are doing it, they are really coming forward. You take the IIT Madras example. Huge revenue they are generating in that park which they have established. So things are there. There are many examples. IIT Bombay, one example is there. If you can go through numerous example of this country which are happening, but it is very limited in a vast country like when we have 11,000 institutes. काउंटेबल अगर आप ढूंढेंगे तो 100 भी नहीं मिलेगा इस टाइप का लिंकेज इंस्टीट्यूट. तो 11,000 में 100 भी नहीं मिल रहा है तो परसेंटेज कितना है? सो दैट जो प्लैटिनम लिंकेज 19% हुआ है तो बहुत माने आई एम सेइंग दैट इट इज अ वेरी बिगर number they are projecting as per their survey, but it is all we have to come together. and ये मत सोचो कि एकदम बड़ा इंडस्ट्री को लेके जैसे बहुत all we can do. No, that small person which can be possible by you, just pick up that. जैसे रुपिंदर जी को जब काम दिया गया, it is not that overhauling the total industry. A small section of a machine, a small, he very nicely he projected me कि सर ये पूरा अभी ऑटोमेशन नहीं हो सकता, स्मॉल छोटा सा सेक्शन जहां इनका ज्यादा ही प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है उसको ही पहले मैं कर देता हूँ. And maybe he can now I can request him, he can talk something in that line to address this audience. Rupinder ji, I'll request just for 1 minute, just share your experience how the industry things are taken care by this thing. Please share that information with them. Yes, Asina ji.
Thank you, Director sir.